Hello everyone, my name is Saksham Dixit and this is my channel Pentest Diaries. Today I like to discuss with you about lateral movement in case of Windows domain. So before we start, let me introduce myself. I have been working in security industry since 2010, an information security professional and based out at Bangalore, India. Subsequently, I was employed in security role by a bank and many other organizations. I use this channel as a means of organizing everything I have learned and I want to learn as a way to share those things with others. If you like to connect me on LinkedIn, here's a link of my profile and even I have put it my blog link. You can connect me over there also. So now let's start with today's topic. So today, as I have already conveyed to you that what actually I just want to discuss today. So today I like to discuss about the lateral movement. So what is lateral movement and how it is performed and what are the benefits, what are the costs in case of benefits in case of red teamers and the cost in case of if a person is working a SOC on a blue teamer. So what are the consequences of it? So we are discussing about that. So lateral movement is a means to an end, a technique used to identify, gain access to and exfiltrate sensitive data. The attacker will use different tools and methods to gain higher privileges and access, allowing them to move laterally sideways between devices and apps through a network to map the system, identify targets, and eventually get to the organization crown jewels. If the attacker is able to secure administrative privileges, malicious lateral activity movements can be extremely difficult to detect, as it appears to be a normal traffic to a security professionals who do not have the skills to differentiate in a flurry alert. We live in a world that sees breaches occurring on a daily basis. As such, it's important security team be able to quickly and accurately detect lateral movement so that they can contain malicious actors from expanding their reach within an organization. So now it's a demo time. So over here, I'm just assuming that you are already having local administrator privileges on a system, which is I can call it as a Win10. This system is present in a domain, and now we're proceeding further with that. We already have the local administrator right on this system. We already enumerate a lot to our domain. We are aware about it, where exactly our domain controller is, how many system is present in it. So I'm not wasting my time in that once again. So I'll just proceed further for the lateral movement, which is our today's topic. So the first thing we have to fire it, which you always do it. We have to change the bypass policy. We have to change the execution policy of our PowerShell first. Okay, so now it's done. So we simply have to fire one command, that is we have to load our script, that is PowerView1. So the first thing we have to do after this, I just want to show you like where exactly our domain controller is and what exactly that config and the IP address is. So we can see that the domain controller is 192.168.44.133. It's in a domain itself lab.local. This is the host name of it, dom1.lab.local. Okay, we remember it once we compromise the domain controller. So at that time, this is the exit IP address I'm showing you. Okay, so now the first thing after this command we have to do, as we already have a local administrator right, so as per the hypothetical way I can say that it may be a possibility whatsoever the system we try to get it compromised, that same user having administrator right on another system. Okay, it may be a possibility. So we just try to figure out whether, taking example like Neeraj is the user over here, it may be a possibility this same user having administrator right on any other system, and on that system at some point of time administrator get it login on that system. So we can try that combination so that we can reach to the domain controller. We try to check multiple combination try to dump the hashes so that we can use the hashes and reach to the final point where we want to reach. So we simply have to fire this command. What this command do? Whatever the user by which we log in on the system, that same user in the entire network, this script is trying to get it login and check whether we have the local administrator right on any other system other than this system or not. If we have that, we get the host name of that system so that we can approach that system directly. So you can see that Win10 is the system on which we already have that local administrator right, and one more system which we can see that it's srv1.lab.local. Okay, so we can proceed further with that. As we already aware about it, like we have a local administrator right, there is no need to waste more time. We simply have to fire this command. We simply have to go for the PS session. We get that. So now there is one more thing I just want to convey, like normally it will not happen, but I'll try it. So we can see that while we try to fire this command of Mimikatz, it's not working, as the antivirus is not allow us to go inside of it directly. So to overcome this issue, we simply have to go inside of the session. Now we are inside of the session of the SRV1. Now this will not directly allow us to go for launching the Mimikatz. So we have to fire a script by which we can bypass this. Once we fire this script, we simply have to download or execute both the things. So in my next command, I'm using Mimikatz ex. While I'm using it just make it not even download the file of Mimikatz, it's also get executed. So we are getting both the results at the same time, like downloading and happening, and along with that execution is also happening. So we simply have to fire this command and we can get the output. So now we have the output with us. So we simply have to consider it on the users. Is there any user is present? So I can see that Shivesh is one of the user whose hash we can get it very easily. Okay, other than that, we try to search around for other thing. It's Sumit also we have. Okay, rest I think only the user itself. Shivesh once again, and not much. Okay, so over here we considered only on the Shivesh hash. Okay, we simply have to come out of it, exit. Now we simply have to go to our download section. I have already downloaded this file. Run this as administrator. What I'm doing over here, I just as I'm already having the hashes of Shivesh, so I try to get the shell of Shivesh with the privileges of Shivesh account. Okay, so now I simply have to fire this command. This over here, this is the way by which there are two type of way by which we can execute the Mimikatz. Either we have to use the PS1 directly, or we have the Mimikatz.exe. In Windows 10, most of the time the .ps1 file is not working appropriately, so we have to use the .exe file directly so that it will execute on Windows 10. Simply have to fire this command, and the user is Shivesh over here. Domain we have defined it over here, and NTLM hash. Along with that, what exactly we want to get it out of this. So PowerShell.exe is the thing which I want it. Once we fire this command, we get the shell of Windows. We get the PowerShell of Shivesh privileges. Now what exactly we have to do it further? We simply have to go to our directory section once again. I want to make it very clear, we are getting a session of Shivesh. We have not switched it to any other system right now. Okay, it's just a session. So whatever the directory we have it on our local system, it's accessible for us as we having a session, not we having the privileges, not that a session of different system itself. Now we simply have to go to that section once again. Now we have to change the execution policy once again. Okay, now we have to load Power View once again, and now again we have to fire a same command which we have fired for Neeraj. Let's wait for the output. Okay, so it may be a possibility first time when we fire it, it's not working appropriately, but next time when we have run it, we get the output, it's DOM1 also. So now this user Shivesh having administrator right on DOM1 also. So what's the next step for it? We simply have to go ahead further with this. We simply have to go for the PS session on the same shell, then to load this session. Now we are inside of the DOM1, but this is not sufficient for us. Okay, we have to load the Mimikatz and we have to reissue the admin. Okay, now it just bypass the AMSI. Now we have to download the Mimikatz script, but make sure it's only Mimikatz. I do not want the Mimikatz to get it executed, so I am not using that. There are two types of script. One is a Mimikatz and Mimikatz EX. EX just get it executed after get downloaded, but in this case it just get downloaded, not executed. Now we simply have to go for this command. What exactly we want to dump we want to get the hashes of the administrator on domain controller. So by this way I can get the hash of domain administrator account hashes. So you can see that we have the hashes of administrator on the domain controller. One more thing before going further with it, I also want to fetch the hashes of KGPRT, which is a default user on every domain controller. So this is also, I just want to get it fetched. Okay, we can get that very easily. You can see that this is the Intelum hash of KRBGT. Now proceeding further with that, as we already have that the hashes of the administrator. Now what we have to do, again we go back to the mimikatz.exe. We simply have to make it that command. We have to modify the command as per our need, and we have to put it the user as administrator, domain are same, and the Intelum hash of the administrator which we have fetched it from that way. Okay, we simply have to fire this command, and now we have the session of administrator of domain controller. Okay, now what exactly we have to do it further with it. So this is not bit sufficient for us as we already have that, but I want a complete session of it, a complete reverse shell of the domain controller instead of having privileges of it. Okay, so what we can do it over here, we try to make it a scheduler by which we can trigger that request and get that reverse shell of our domain controller. So for that we have to utilize one of the script that we call it as invoke PowerShell tcp.ps1. I'll open it for you so that you can able to see it. So we have to customize this script as per our IP address we have it, where we try to get it executed. So I can say that over here I try to get it executed on my system. So I have already put in the IP address of my system and the port, any port you can mention over here as per your need, wheresoever you are running your PowerCat. So we require the PowerCat to working as a listener. It's similar like a Netcat. In PowerShell we can use a PowerCat. So PowerCat is working like a listener where we get the shell once we trigger this scheduler. Okay, so I'll just save this script and paste it once again on my HFS tool. Now everything is set. We simply have to open one more script. It doesn't mean we need the privilege, it's just a normal script, we can open it. Okay, we have to run it over here as power. We have to go to the section, now post load PowerCat.ps1. Now start listener on PowerCat on the same port which we have defined it on our script. Now proceed further with that. We have the shell, so what exactly we have to do it now? We simply have to go to, fire this command. I'll explain you what exactly. It's a type of the schedule task where we are creating it for this. This is our dom1.lab.local, which is the host name of our domain controller. We are defining what type of rights we needed. Okay, this is the name we are defining it over here. And other than that, what actually we want to get it execute. So you can see that PowerShell.exe.c, and this is the file is get downloaded from our HFS where we have put it that script. Okay, this is the actual command for it. We simply have to run it and we get that it's created. But now it's not get executed so far, as we have to manually fire that to get it executed. So the next command is to trigger it. The scheduler is created but it's not get triggered. We have to run it manually, or we can define a time slot for it to get it automatically run it. So as per my requirement, I have created that and now I'm running that. Once we run that, it just trigger it and fetch that script from our HFS, and in a minute we can see that on our, so we can see that we get the domain controller reverse shell on PowerCat, and even I'll just get it verify whether it's the same IP address or not. I can see that it's the same IP address of the domain controller. So this is a one way, this is an ideal situation, I can say that, for one of the ways by which we can, if we have the local administrator running on any system which is present in a domain, and we can enumerate and using a lateral movement techniques, and if that is possible we can reach to the domain controller. This is one of the way. I'm not saying this is an ideal situation. Like for this I have just make it a simulation for it to get it demonstrate, but in a real world scenario, lot of antivirus is running over there. You have to bypass the antivirus on a systems where you just jumping it, or the wheresoever you're taking up PS sessions to don't make lot of noise. And right now in the industry, a lot of things are present by which whatever the activities you're trying to make it just get if any intrusive stuff is get triggered, it just get identified by those tools. So we have to be very careful when you're performing such type of activities. It's just coming under the red teaming activities only. Okay, so these are the only stuff I just want to discuss this with you today. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you next time.